Okay. We need to dig into this, right? Odette, when it comes down to the Swan Song, I know that there is a certain amount of CC resistance when she have got her shield, and she also have one single charge of repositioning inbuilt into the Swan Song, and even have got the flicker. But my problem here is just how good is that wave clear, because right now the Faramis plus the chip is a wave clear guard, and it is only in the early stages, the laning phases, that I think that RSG is gonna suffer.
Man, I don't know what to think about it. Like what I mentioned, this is why I love, you know, Coach Amos coming out with this weird random drafts out there, just throwing me out of the game. Literally, right? Literally throwing out my chair earlier just now when the Odette Camilla comes on. I'm not too sure. I've got not a lot of information on this abstract.
High level crowd control. Knocked airborne, transformed, and etc. I don't think a knockback is knockback and a stun is considered as high level control effect.
I mean, the only way we can basically
is to see.
Yeah, is to see it. Right now, we're just doing an experiment. We need to see how JPL hopefully can push Roy out of this ultimate.
Well, we'll see how that works. Vanix don't have the crowd control. Cut TZ technically has a repositioning tool, and that is gonna be the Shadow Stampede. But that also means that you, as a Faramis, have to eat up the entire Swan Song.
Yeah, technically Faramis, that pullback technically also, I don't know whether that counts as a
crowd control.
High level crowd control.
Yeah, so it's very ambiguous.
We have to see. I really want to watch this. But right now, let's take a look at this one. It is definitely going to be JPL once again.
Oh, wow! That is explosive! Right down over to Roy. And Roy have used his flicker for the first time about 70 seconds ago. So this is not the first time that RSG have gained some heat from Team Black.
Abstract, that felt like Truck couldn't ran over Roy earlier just now. And Hades, that's a green carpet for them to pick up this turtle that's going to allow the Suyo to escalate. And now this time around, you don't really have a Hanzo, right? So it's a lot easier for you to deal with. Hold on.
And there we go, the OG Shadow Kill coming in all the way through. We do have the shortcut that's going to be popped as well. But the OG Shadow Kill brings JPL down. Only one person entered into the shortcut, and that happens to be Ken.
Yep, it seems like Roy hasn't used that ultimate earlier just now. The Swan Song was just available online, and that kill earlier just now by Truck-kun literally limiting the growth of Roy for now. So I think RSG needs to take a step back just a little bit more, but Flash SG, they need to ramp up that aggression.
At this point, we do have Ken that is just going to be working his way over onto the EXP lane, trying to clear that out as soon as possible, but that might not be too good, because we do have Closer that is just hogging onto these waves, and Bray joins in the fray. There is no creep waves around, so Bray just wants to clear out the EXP, or rather the River Crab. Not going to go for the OG Shadow Kill as it's currently unavailable until now.
CS shooting Natalia down the bottom lane. I think if you are playing against a chip, you really need to make sure that you get as much information as possible.
You gotta be as safe, you gotta be extremely cautious. I think RSG have got enough PTSD trauma from the previous game, but we gotta have to watch it unfold. Jay literally just walked right into the brush in the bottom side. Hades just get a pretty decent damage in on the Jay, but I don't think that's gonna pick up fast.
I think right now, for the side of RSG, this is a very reactive kind of roster, right? Like, Flash SG, they're the ones that are supposed to engage. So that RSG Singapore, this is meant to counter this whole roster coming out from Flash Singapore, especially that chip. But funnily, if JPL doesn't use the ultimate, then RSG roster become useless, right?
I mean, right? I guess so. But for now, we do have a little bit of a push down from the side of RSG. We've got JPL already down to half HP. He's looking for an opportunity to open up that the shortcut at the best timing possible, but he do not want to be too early on that as well. The top lane is pushing down, the mid lane is pushing out wide as well. The shortcut comes in with 3% right in the midst of everything, and we do have got a Swan Song coming in, dealing a decent amount of damage on the JPL, but we do have got the Nether Realm that dealt quite a bit. But I see it seems as though Roy escaped out of that fight with a flicker as such, interrupting his own Swan Song. Flash manages to pick up 3 kills using their own JPL as a sacrifice. The Ogi Shadow kill goes in, but not quite enough for them to be able to execute all those low HP players.
Yeah, the Swan Song was literally went on uninterrupted all this time, right? Rest assured, I think for the side of Flash SG should have something in terms of a high level CC should have been landed, but he's able to output all that Swan Song. However, because of that early death, he's not able to output enough damage against Flash SG earlier.
So we're gonna have to wait and see, right? Odette requires items to realistically be able to do good damage. At this point, she don't have any, with only 2,600 gold to her name.
Yep. Going one, definitely being rushed out by Roy right here. Like what I mentioned, RSG Singapore shouldn't try to pick a fight. I think should try to disengage, but Flash SG, I think they're just holding a gun against RSG Singapore, forcing them to fight.
5 minutes and 55 seconds onto the clock at this point, with about 4,000 gold lead for Flash SG. Did we hype up too much on the RNG, or is this just going to be a late game monster on the side of RNG? That is probably going to be the question.
Don't forget, Odette late game, the Swan Song, that zone denier is super deadly.
And we haven't exactly seen just what kind of combo we can see from the Curse of Blood plus the Swan Song at this point in time just yet.
Yeah, don't forget, another problem from the side of RNG Singapore is that closer is the Gato Kacha, the AOG, you need, yes, technically speaking, you can use it to engage, but you're not expecting to land the AOG sometimes, right?
Yeah.
You use it to zone.
Yeah.
Same idea for the side of Camilla, that ultimate, that ring, also, it's actually really hard to land because everybody literally could just walk out of it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at
backswing.
you're looking at something. Usually, when you pick a Camilla, you're looking at something to basically do the initial lockdown first, so that you can land that ultimate.
So now the question is, how do they want to layer their abilities, right? Do they want to look out for an AOG in order to push people to a certain direction so that the Curse of Blood could land? Or would it be vice versa? Curse of Blood in order to push people into the AOG? But most of the time, I would like to believe that RSG will want to walk into battle.
Map. RSG Singapore, they're tunnel vision onto the turtle. Look at Vanix just free farming all the way down bot.
I don't think that they are actually gonna deal with this at this point in time. Like, even if they were to walk down to the bottom lane, they're just gonna get a shortcut in. But in the meantime, Hades will be able to get themselves the turtle at this point. The rest of RSG is just gonna be congregating to get the right within of the T1 turret.
And not only just that, Ken literally zones RSG away. Like what I mentioned, the tunnel vision onto, but hold on, JPL looking sneaky fleaky right there.
Is just saying hi.
That was a drive-by, literally. But you know, like the fact that RSG Singapore was literally committing into that turtle fight, but they tunnel vision right into that one, and they still lose the turtle. Ken right there zoning RSG Singapore by himself.
Yeah, literally a drive-through, right? One hamburger with no pickles. Just coming in from the back and just quick little proxy. But regardless, let's talk a little bit about RSG. They are currently 7,000 gold behind.
Yeah.
They require some time before they are, before they eventually go online. Before CS can deal reasonable damage, Roy can deal reasonable damage as well. But how much time exactly do they need?
Yeah, but I feel like time is definitely a factor, right? But then again, you lose out so much. Look at Flash SG. Bottom lane so cleared up. Now Hades is just gonna do his normal thing. The mid lane right now is gonna try to get crack open. Ken will try to engage right here.
Oh my goodness, the flicker coming in from the side of Ken. For the meantime, Katizi finds himself in the bad spot as we do have God Roy picking up that kill using the Swan Song.
Yep, and that's basically maybe time for them. But then again, there's quite a big gold gap, right? Roy right here, you don't really trust his... I don't think you can trust his damage right now. It's all on Bray to make sure he lands the assassination on be it Vanix or be it Katizi or even Hades.
It will take time. But how much time do they need? 6,000 gold lead from the side of Team Flash. Team Flash also wants to play onto the aggressive role. Jumps on to CS, but not going to be opening up the shortcut at this point.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I feel like RSG Singapore, apart from the fact that they tunnel vision onto the turtle, maybe Amos also tunnel vision onto the drop as well, right? Now if JBL just walks on in, activates the ultimate, just to try to zone and bait RSG's ultimates out. Here we go.
Immediately, with the Depth Sonata, gets himself a huge amount of range away from Vanix. And now that they know that the Zaman Force is currently unavailable, this is actually a pretty good time to strike onto RSG.
Yeah.
But they also gotta have to know that they are more of a reaction comp. they would want to counter-engage instead of engaging. Technically, they can just send Jay walking right in, poke the enemies, and force flash in.
Yeah, but like, you need to. But then JPL could easily respawn, right? And that's the thing. That's the thing about RG Singapore's roster. I mean, it's a very interesting way of doing it, especially Camilla and the Gato Kacha one more combo. But I think it's a little bit too reactive.
Well, we're gonna have to wait to see what exactly is that dream play from RSG. But do note, this is a late game comp. The moment that they are able to land that kind of dream play, it could just potentially just wipe out the entirety of Flash. And even though Flash have got like these T2 turrets, it could just end the game in a blink.
The Lord though, Frey cannot actually hold on to it, and now Team Flash trying to make a play around it. The Lord gets reset, and now Flash actually looking to strike.
JPL just going to be rushing himself right into the side of CS. The shotgun is unfortunately used in a very suboptimal location. As such, Hades will be able to get a kill down on the J. We do have Closer just going to be jumping his way all the way to the back lines, and of course, when it comes to the Swan Song, done a reasonable amount of damage. They entered the portal. At least that is for Kurtisi. He wants to walk himself all the way back home, but with the Nether Realm, he's got his second chance at life. They're continuing on with this fight, but there is still Bray right around the vicinity. As such, Kurt flickers himself away. He's going to be safe and sound for now, but now the Lord is about 30% HP. They goes on for a reset because they can't hold on to this with the amount of HP they have.
Yeah, earlier just now, we were talking about 7k gold lead. Now it's dwindling down to 4k. That was a very good fight for the side of RSG. They really did really well because Flash SG, because if you notice how the shotgun is being used, it was like a Looney Tunes kind of cartoon. Who are chasing each other through each other's portals, and then after that, you know, see how JBL, maybe he can do something right here.
Oh, and the retribution coming from the Star Ray will bring down the Lord and the Swan Song! But unfortunately, that is Ken that managed to find himself the split, and that will completely remove the Swan Song. That is one of the crowd control we completely forgotten about. As such, the AOG from Closer gets himself away, and that is the reset of the fight.
Man, Ken was massive right there in order to be able to stop that one. JPL, that was a wise choice. Unfortunately, the Lord still goes over to the side of RSG Singapore. That was a good attempt, though.
Okay, so now I think that they realize that they really need to reserve the split over to the Odette so that they can cancel out that Swan Song. That is before Ken even goes down. We do have a pretty decent amount of poke potential coming from CS though, but I don't think that will be enough to eventually bring Ken down. It will still allow Ken to go for the split onto Troy, unless they want to kind of play it slow, wait for Ken to use the split, and only then they go for the front song.
Yeah, but with that, there's Hades versus Break.
Oh! Even the flicker.
JPL really wants Brave.
Really wants it. In the event that he actually picks up the kill on the Brave, that will be so worth it of a flicker.
Yeah, but take a look. Because of that Lord, the standing goal right there will be able to be collected by the side of RSG. RSG Singapore is still unable to crack up top for now. And if you take a look, the gold lead still leaning over to the side of Flash.
Oh, the Nether Realm is forced. As such, no more Nether Realm for the next upcoming fight.
Hades.
But Hades doing Hades thing. As such, Flash will probably want to extend this fight as long as possible as the Suyo will crack down the top lane turret.
And once again, ladies and gents, Hades tried to do it. Gato Kacha may be able to do something against that. A minute right there. Hades has to run away now.
Oh no, he got taunted in with the Blade Surge, and he's gonna be A-okay.
But then again, if you notice how Team Flash literally lost.
Wait, the creep waves at the top lane is still going. So I think that Hades might want to go in for a second try.
No.
Oh no!
He doesn't have the HP! And now
doesn't have
because
it.
of that, RG
Oh no!
oh, Team Flash
Wait! They don't have the creeps. They don't have the creeps. But they're fine. They have one Ballista to at least bring down this T3 turret. That was a classic greedy Hades play.
A base trade happening right here. The ultimate being used to try to slow down Roy, using the ultimate to try to zone abstract.
No, now he wants to clear out the creep wave, especially since Ken is not around the area to go for the split and cancel out the Swan Song. But ultimately, Roy will still go down. Both teams, they are greeding. They want to end it.
I have no idea why I'm watching anymore, Abstract, because Hades, I mean, that was a good play, right? But then again, when the base trade fell, RG Singapore also realized that they're running out of steam. But after all of that, take a look. Mid lane and bot lane for the side of Flash SG is open. The gold lead now swings in the favor of RG Singapore. Now the Lord is coming out and Vanix is still down in 10 seconds. RG Singapore needs to rush this.
Oh my god, I am actually getting a little bit of a deja vu at this point in time. But we'll see how that's gonna go.
And don't forget, Chip can basically bring everybody to the front. Roy still needs to do the manual way of walking all the way to the fight.
Eye on the prize, Hades. Eye on the prize. As Flicker committed from the side of JPL. The AOG being expanded out as well. Ken does not have a lot of HP to work with. As such, Roy with the bouncing musical notes bring him down. The Nether Realm is also going to be popped. As such, KTC no longer have got that to work with them. The Swan Song are currently unavailable. CS still have got a couple of Rhapsody or Death Sonata to work with. However, Hades, the sly assassin, goes over the back lines and peels off of CS.
Man, that was a very bad fight for the side of Flash SG. Hear me out. RSG Singapore, that was a... Even though they missed 2 ultimates, Flash SG makes more sense. If you take a look at this replay right here, the AOG and also it's already okay. This is already used. AOG earlier used already. Camilla ultimate is already committed. That's why Team Flash wants a handshake this fight. But look at Bray. Bray's target prioritization is so good in terms of finding these main damage dealers. Don't forget KTC on the Faramis. Yes, after his Cult Altar is out, he's basically a sifting duck.
There's really not much that you gotta be afraid of, aside from, I guess, Ghostbusters, right? I don't think that RSG is gonna be that close with one another all that much, but as much as I really want to see the effects of the Curse of Blood has got one of the weakest visual effects. I, for the life of me, can never be able to see the Curse of Blood being used for most of these instances.
Maybe this time.
Now, okay, now I can see it, but everyone's just gonna be huddled up together. They're all hugging and cuddling. As such, Hades as well as Ken, they don't have a lot of HP to work with, but fortunately they did manage to bring down Bray as well as CS. The rest of Flash is just gonna be running right in. Jay still have a lot of HP left, and also with the immortality. Closer just gonna be whamming down onto the ground, trying to clear out the waves as soon as possible. But there's still a wave there's still a wave coming in. Immortality is currently gonna be popped. Closer is still in the game, however, still go down at this point in time. Flash, they got a free entry and a free ticket right over to the core and demolish that crystal.
That is actually